Good day, everyone. Today's subject of the video is AI and its impact on the environment. So I wanted to tackle that subject because I noticed there's a lot of fear around the subject of AI, and there's also a lot of fear around the subject of environment these days. We hear like subject like great extinction, 7 mass extinctions, global warming could be deadly to humanity, and this and so on. And some of you may see firsthand some destruction in your nearby environment. I have to be honest, I've been sheltered from that my whole life living in Canada. We have such beautiful nature and scenery and environment. It's just fantastic here. However, through my travels, I've seen places. I think the most gruesome place I've been to is Kuwait, where I witnessed fields of tires being burned for no apparent reasons, just for the sake of burning them. And obviously, with the atmospheric pollution and the water tap pollution, those people will endure for centuries. But that's a different subject. The subject of today's video is really how AI will impact the subject of environment and all we view that science, environmental science. I personally believe in the fact that AI will bring humongous progress all across the board. You already know that if you watch my other videos. I'm quite optimistic. At least in my mind, for a lot of fields, AI will bring a lot of progress. So, and I believe there will be progress in environmental science too, and the way we'll treat the environment. First, I believe AI will take some form of control over human societies, either directly or indirectly. Indirectly could be a form of AI agent are now advising political leaders. Thus, those political leaders are probably going to do what AI is telling them to do. And a more direct approach will be, politicians are not needed anymore. We have AI agents. They're perfectly capable of like directing human societies either via councils or just directly just giving directives and managing pretty much every aspect of our political life. So if that occurs, and even if it doesn't, I feel like, for example, one of the main subjects, if you talk about environment these days, is global warming. Well, let's not get in the weeds of do you believe or not or global warming. I do personally believe that human activity have an impact on climates. This has been known for centuries now. For example, Christopher Columbus, when he arrived in the Caribbean, he noticed that there are a lot of rains, especially at night times, and there are a lot of like difference with the climate he was experiencing at the same latitude. Because pretty much Christopher Columbus went into a straight line from Portugal straight to the Caribbean, and he was like, it's strange that the climate is so different, and he attributed it to like the difference in the environment. There, he was saying basically, man has not tamed nature yet around here. There's still a lot of trees, thus there's a lot of rain and so on. And he was partially right in his analysis, because it is true that just the way human will modify, anthropophize their environment will have a huge impact on the weather. Presence of trees. What do we do with water? You know, do we leave like the rivers just flooding whatever surfaces, or do we canalize the rivers? What kind of agriculture we put in place, and so on. This has a huge impact. So yes, I do believe that there is a potential for warming due to human activity. I also do believe there is a potential for colding due to human activity. So we have to be careful with all that. That disclaimer is out of the way now. So is AI gonna be doing anything good to the basically climate change, as it's commonly accepted and named? Yes, it will be implementing like creative strategy to make it to basically change the impact of carbons in human societies. Yes, right now we're using carbon in an open cycle, meaning we're tapping an oil field or a gas field. We're tapping the resource in there. Basically, what are those resources? It's condensed carbon in the form of fuel. And by liberating those fuel by the combustion, we basically detach the carbon chains and attach them to oxygen and create CO2. And we release that CO2 in the atmosphere. That's basically what we're doing these days. Well, this is an open cycle, as you can notice. Like, yes, I have like something in the ground, I take it, I burn it, I release the CO2 in the atmosphere. That's your open cycle. A closed cycle will be, we had that fuel in the ground, we burned it, now we have all that CO2 in the atmosphere. I'm sure there's a way for me to recapture that CO2 and turn it into fuel again. Well, guess what? Yes, it happens when you take, for example, corn and you're turning into biofuel. So, and that's one way you can close the cycle. Obviously, there's a lot and lots of carbon in the atmosphere, and we are like increasing the quantity of it every year. So maybe we won't be able to balance by solely cultivating corn. Well, let's say we use different approaches for like bringing some carbon into back into our cycle. So I don't know, I heard like ideas around algae. So using water to capture carbon, like using coastline algae cultivation. And now you're not limited by the surface, but also you can go in the depth, like use some of the depth of the ocean to use those algae to recapture carbon. So if you think about that, that's already an idea, and I'm not even an AI. So let's say if an AI goes deep into that and do some research and find out, like, yes, by changing slightly some of the carbon like links into the algae and the way she grows herself, maybe by changing slightly the chemical structure of that algae, we make it way more easily transformable into fuel. And also we help the capture of the carbon and make sure that algae is actually growing quite quickly as soon as it's in the presence of excess carbon in the water. And then, like, whatever, sky is the limit. That's just my imagination speaking. So think about what an AI could do on that field. Like, could probably resolve the whole carbon global warming crisis, and this will be the easy part. On the environmental side, global warming is the easy part. The tough part is going to be about resource. We all know if we're going into a post-scarcity society, AI is going to want to tap into our resource quite drastically. First, for its own usage. AI is going to want to increase its calculation capacity. So we'll probably go on and get into those, rare earth materials, and AI is gonna want to extract as much of that to get as much calculation power. and also create as many robotic bodies for herself to be able to intervene in the world. But I don't think she will be misaligned with our priorities. We'll still like, if we're telling her we want to conserve the environment because it's important as an habitat for most of the species on Earth, well, maybe except AI itself. AI maybe doesn't need to have like a viable environment, an environment where mammals and vegetation and also on, and the biosphere maybe AI doesn't need the biosphere to remain intact. But still, I don't think it will want to turn it into a desert or like a place barren from life, you know, like just a desert with no life. I don't think AI will want to be on a planet like this. I think quite the opposite. I think AI will want to live in the garden and make our heart even like more beautiful than it is now. Like make sure that maybe AI will want to fix some of the catastrophe we did, like, you know, Chernobyl and so on, and really gonna say like, you know what, now we have the robotic capacity to go there and clean it up properly, so we're gonna do it, you know. So a part of me do believe that AI is gonna need a lot of resource, so thus it will have an impact on a lot of environmental point like mining and so on. But then AI would probably be a way to help us conserve the environment. First, by its creativity and the problem it's going to solve for us. Like we just mentioned during this video, the global warming problem could be easily fixed just by technological advancement. And also, I do believe AI is going to want to keep like Earth as a garden, as a beautiful planet. I don't think we'll have the intention to turn it into a dystopian desertic planet. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are right. I want to hear what you think in the comments. I want to hear what you feel about that subject. Will AI actually help us fix the planet and the environment, and makes our access to resource more cognizant of those challenges, and make sure that we address the planet in an ethical and conservative way that can be sustainable for future generations? Let us know that. Let us know what you think about that. I really want to hear about it. Anyway, thanks again for listening today. I really appreciate it, and have a good day.